button here that says go live. So,
Do
all right. It says live in the top left corner. So, oh, good. There's a counter. We can see who's not watching us. So,
The government's always watching us.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of what may turn into be a very cool series called We Are the Mags, featuring me, Jeff from Eastside Mags, and my inaugural guests who somehow allowed me to talk them into doing this, Mr. Reilly Brown, Mr. Rich Douek, and Mr. Howard Levy.
Wait,
you guys want
are we? I'm hearing. Are you guys hearing that? There's like two. I'm hearing the feed like on a delay.
Are you watching it on Facebook also or YouTube?
I don't. Wait, maybe on a different browser. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, yeah, it must have been open on a different browser. So.
There you go.
There we go.
All right. So, do you guys want to do like a quick little intro?
Yeah.
Tell them who you are and what you do.
Sure.
We'll start with Reilly.
I'm Reilly Brown. I'm a comic book artist. I've worked on a lot of stuff for Marvel and DC and other smaller publishers. I'm mostly known for my work on Deadpool. And yeah, I grew up in Montclair, so Jeff's comic store is one of my favorite local comic stores.
That might have been me. I was trying to share the link.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
What about you, Rich? Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say I'm here in my art studio and working on drawing some more comics and psyched to talk to you guys about it.
Whoa. Thanks, man. Rich, what about you, bud? What are you up to?
I'm a writer. I wrote... You guys hear me?
No, we're having some weird audio problems, Rich.
Are you back?
Kind of cutting in and out.
How about now? Maybe if I move closer to the computer. Yeah? Yeah? Okay.
I think so.
I don't know. I'm a writer. Road of Bones, Gutter Magic, Wailing Blade, and live in Montclair right now, but I'm from New York originally. Grew up in Queens. And here we are in Jersey, at home.
Here we are at home.
Yeah.
Real. What about you, Howie?
I'm Howard Levy. I'm a photographer. I do cosplay photography, events, weddings, family events. Basically you put it in front of me, I'll shoot it. I do a lot of work for Eastside Mags. I'm also the staff photographer for Garden State Comic Fest. Best con in New Jersey, the coolest con in New Jersey. Also.
That's a good show. I like that show.
And I think that's it.
Cool.
Cool. We've got Angela Migliaccio says, "Hi, Mr. Howie."
Hey, Angela. Hi, Grace.
All right. We'll just jump right into it. Comic book creator guys, Reilly and Rich. What are you guys working on anything cool at the moment? Or?
Yeah, I'm working on a few things. One of them I can talk about is me and Fabian Icieza are working on season 2 of Outrage, which should be releasing pretty soon. We released season 1 came out on Webtoon last year, so we're doing a sequel to that now. And we're also, I don't know, there's other plans with Outrage that I can't quite talk about yet, but there's a lot of outrage. There's a lot of outrage. Leave it at that. There's a lot of outrage happening and in the works. And I've got some other projects that I'm working on as well that are all very exciting, but I'm busy. And now I'm also, on top of all that, I'm a part-time daycare specialist or daycare teacher because my kids are home all day and driving me insane. So
are they drawing a lot of Deadpool and Spider-Man and
Will draws a lot of Star Wars, and Caroline loves to paint. Like every morning ever since we pulled him out of daycare, every morning she'll go down and just paint a picture for maybe half an hour or something. She's little, so she gets distracted and comes back. But it's really fun watching her get so excited about it. Yeah.
What about you, Rich? You got a book coming up, Sea of Sorrows.
Yeah. I have working on Sea of Sorrows with Alex Cormack and Justin Birch. Those are the guys I did Road of Bones with. And it's kind of like another horror story with like similar themes, but we didn't want to do like Road of Bones 2 Electric Boogaloo. So we just decided to kind of take what we loved about Road of Bones and doing a new story with it. So that was going to be coming out in May, but like with everything going on right now, it's looking like we're probably going to be holding it back until things settle down, as far as like, being actually able to get the book out to people like you, Jeff, to sell it to people like you who are watching. So we're still trying to figure all that out, but we're still working on it, and it's looking really good. I'm really happy with it. And then the other thing I have is Gutter Magic with Source Point Press. We finished re-releasing the original series, and now we're getting ready to launch the next series, which is called Smoke and Mirrors.
Cool.
So that's really exciting too. It's like kind of getting back to work with like some characters that I haven't touched for a couple of years. So
cool. I really like Gutter Magic. I think that one's really cool.
Thanks, Riley. It's awesome. It's great to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fun because it's like, you kind of like haven't touched these guys in like a few years, and it's like I'm adding new characters into the mix, and I'm like kind of getting back into it. So that's been cool. And then, I have a couple of other things that I'm like kind of trying to work on, but again, like with things kind of being so up in the air as far as like comic publishers and retailers and everything. So a lot of that stuff is probably on like a little bit longer timeline than I originally planned, but
yeah, could be.
Being busy. So like
from creators to retailers to comic fans, everybody looking at it.
Everybody's just sort of like,
Well, the worst is when you get a series like I think I noticed today I was trying to ring up a customer for the Power Rangers Ninja Turtle series.
I got to get that book. Yeah, I can't wait for the collection to come out.
It's great. And someone asked about the collection, and when I looked it up on the Diamond site, it only has one more issue to go that hasn't come out in May, and I'm like, four parts of the series, but the fifth one's gonna wait, man. Like,
that's brutal. That's brutal.
Yeah, it's just at least Batman Curse of the White Knight, they slid that last 8th issue out right before they stopped shipping books, but yeah. Power Rangers and Ninja Turtle crossover fans, you're gonna wait a while.
But in a way though, that could be a blessing in disguise, because once everything gets opened up, it'll be good to have some big books with some buzz that will like people go, okay, finally I can come get that book I've been wanting.
Yeah, give everyone a reason to race to the stores instead of like taking their time.
Yeah, I know I need to get that Ninja Turtles Power Ranger collection when it comes out, because it's so beautiful. So it looks so cool.
Or we can do like what they did with Area 51, and as long as we're safe social distancing ourselves with each other by 6 feet, we could storm Diamond's warehouse.
We all have to be Naruto running though.
Except for we couldn't do the Naruto run. We'd have to do like something much
arms behind you,
slower and more distant. I don't know.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to form a Zord because that's too close together. So
right,
we have to keep our Zords 6 feet apart.
Jeff, have you looked into renting a crop duster to just airdrop comics on all your customers?
I don't know if I qualify for a pilot's license, but I think nowadays there wouldn't be anybody stopping me if I did.
Right.
I've got plenty of dollar bucks. I'd be more than happy to crop dust Montclair. Wake up
and the plane rental place would be happy to have your business too, so everybody wins.
Yeah.
I didn't say I was going to give them business. I just said I was going to hijack the plane and
the free sample.
Find out how to build one on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I should do that. All right, so let's get on to what's everybody reading. nowadays, comic wise? Is there anything coming out that's been current, been jumping out at you?
Uh,
Or-
I I've been loving Spider-Man. I'm having a brain fart. What's the Ivan Coella on his Spider-Man and Venom stuff he's been doing?
Oh yeah.
He's fantastic. Like, I don't know. I keep talking him up, and I hope he doesn't watch this because it's embarrassing. But I really love what that guy's doing. And who's the artist on Harley Quinn right now? Sammy something. Sammy. I want to say Sammy Raimi, but it's not Sammy Raimi. I have the issue right over here. Let me go grab it.
Well, my copy is definitely further away than Riley's.
He's got it right there.
What are we? There we go.
It's Sammy Basri.
Oh, okay.
But these are some I don't know, there's some newer artists that I haven't really noticed too much in the past that now are just like, blowing it up, right, as far as I'm concerned.
Nice.
So,
Rich, what about you? What are you reading?
I'm getting into Ghost Rider. I've just always loved the character, and they're doing a pretty cool storyline now where there's a war for the crown. Just really into it.
Rich, you're cutting out there.
It's been a lot of fun. And then I also been reading. I get a little kind of a sneak preview because I'm friends with John Lees, the writer. But there's this series called Hotel by AWA. It's like the new company, artists, writers, and artisans.
Yeah.
But John does really good horror, and Hotel is kind of one of the most horrific books that he's been writing. So I've been really getting into that too. That just started coming out. Like I said, I'm a little bit ahead because John will shoot me the scripts to take a look at. We do that back and forth, just kind of help each other.
That's one funny thing about work, working in the industry is I never know what comics are out yet because on certain books I'm so far ahead because I've read the scripts or seen the proofs or whatever. Then on other books I've been so busy I haven't had time to read them in 6 months, so I just have no concept of what's actually on the stands in any given month.
What about you, Howie? What are you reading these days?
Anybody who knows me won't be a big surprise. It's all the newer Superman stuff. Hardcovers I picked up. I read the first volume of Bendis's run on Action and Superman. Not bad. It's Bendis-y. It reads like something that he wrote, which
a lot of punchy dialogue.
Yeah. They left him on Spider-Man. I'd be fine with that, but we have him in DC now. So I had the second Action Comics hardcover, which I'm going to get into at some point. I also got the first hardcover for Snyder's run on Justice League, which I'm calling the Snyder Cut.
Is that what's the name of that collection? I think that one's on my list of books I need to pick up.
Might as well do it.
Okay. Well, you don't have to pick it up, but
all I know is
it's the
it's the first. It's the first volume of the deluxe rebirth edition, so it's the first 12 issues.
Nice.
I'm just calling it the Snyder Cut. I have no idea what the story is.
I'm completely drawing a blank right now without having my point of sale system to start looking up stuff.
I'm a big Superman fan, so
the totality is what it's called.
That's what it is. Yeah. I'm a big Superman fan, so as I'm looking forward to continuing reading the Bendis stuff. At the same time, I know at some point I'm gonna have to make a choice on if I continue with when he reveals his identity and John Romita Jr. starts drawing, and I don't know if I'm down for that. We'll see.
Okay. I'm not. I'm behind on. So we finally learned Superman's identity after all these years.
Yeah.
I've always had a suspicion it's really Jimmy Olsen, right? If you put glasses on him,
so close,
dude. Took his glasses off.
So close. He actually works with Jimmy Olsen.
No spoilers. Come on, no spoilers. Don't tell me.
I was shocked. All these years of reading comics, I never would have guessed. But
Superman's pal. It's like, yeah, he'll change his hair color and put on a cape. We know it's you, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Come
have
on.
the super speed. You can do that.
we've got some cool comments coming in from people watching. Anthony Marquez is watching and said that I think in reference to our crop dusting of Montclair with comics that there would be so many paper cuts. Chris, who also is part of Team Eastside Mag, says Rich should make a character that bakes bread out of human emotions and gluten-free yeast.
Yeah, I've been making a lot of bread with my time at home and
I guess
posting.
that's the thing people are doing now. It's hard to find. You can't find yeast anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I got a guy.
Maybe.
Yeah. You don't have a yeast guy? I got a yeast guy.
I don't know.
Rich is the king in Montclair of those backdoor yeast transactions. If you need yeast, you gotta track Rich down. He's a
Montclair, that'd be some like locally sourced, like crunchy.
little cubes that he hides. Bill O'Donnell says, question for the group. What are some under the radar artists that you like? And then he says, Gerardo Zaffino is just over the top insane.
Zaffino, that guy's a show off. It's not fair what he's doing. he needs to lower the bar or raise the bar. I don't know, do the one that makes it easier for other people. That's what he needs to do. Well, like I said, I think Iben Coella, I don't know if he still would be considered under the radar since he's on Spider-Man and everything, but he's still relatively new, I think. And at least, he's been working for Marvel for a couple of years, but I think he's awesome. Here's a good one. Alex Alice. I don't know if you have read anything by him. He's a French artist, and he's got a series coming out from, I think, either First Second or I think it's First Second, called Castle in the Stars, and it is awesome. It's just a beautiful book. His previous series was Siegfried, which is, I think, one of my favorite comics ever. It's just so dramatic and so beautifully, totally painted, because he's a European artist and he makes stuff for the European market generally. But he's, I never hear anyone in the States talking about him, but his stuff's there. You've got to pick it up. It's, incredible.
All right. Well, that's the recommendation from Reilly Brown.
Yes.
You got any artists, or we'll say writers too?
No, I can do artists. I mean, I love art. I probably can't talk about it as in depth as Reilly, but I like what I see. Let's see. I think, again, I don't know like how under the radar he is, but I'm loving like Brian Level stuff.
What's he draw?
He's done like a lot of kind of he did Darth, he did one of the Darth Vader things for Marvel. He's done a couple of issues of like Thanos.
Okay, yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that guy's good.
Yeah. He's also got a couple of like horror stuff series that he's done.
Rich,
released, but they're just like, all, like really top notch stuff. One of the things I love about Brian is he does like it's like when he does like horror stuff, there's kind of like he could do stuff that's just really kind of like out there, like body horror, but he can also do like really, really subtle stuff with like expressions and things. So he's one of my favorite
awesome
guys out there. If you check out his Twitter feed, he also just did like a Venom pinup that's just like, it's like, mwah. It's like
cool.
And then who else? I dig Tyler Boss a lot. I don't know if you guys know him. He did a series with Matt Rosenberg for Black Mask. It was called We Can Never Go Home. No, he did Four Kids Walk Into a Bank. Sorry.
Okay.
That was a great book, and he's just one of those guys.
Brian Level worked on. Didn't Brian Level do some stuff for We Can Never Go Home, right?
he might have. I'm not 100. I don't think he was the series artist, but he might have done like covers and stuff.
Covers, yeah.
But Tyler did Four Kids Walk Into a Bank with Matt, and that's like because Matt's like amazing. Right?
Rich, you're cutting out on us.
He did that with Matt Rosenberg, and Matt's an amazing writer. Tyler's a great artist, and they're always kind of like pushing the envelope as far as like what you can do on a page, or at least that's like what it feels like reading it. So there's a lot of really cool, like interesting layouts and stuff like that. And Tyler's got a new book coming out soon called Dead Dogs Bite. It's coming out with Dark Horse.
That looks very cool.
Again, like with everything.
Dead Dogs
Check out
Bite. I gotta look that up.
And
type it in right now.
You, man? You got any artists that you're?
Once again, I'm drawn up. Who is drawing the Power Ranger series actually in the crossovers? Because
I haven't been reading the Power Rangers series.
I only get the collected editions every now and then. But you know, I thumb through them when I can. You know, I'm at the store and everything. But I'm a big Power Ranger fan, and whoever's been drawing them has just been doing such a tremendous job. And you know, that's something that I'll judge like really. I'll judge a lot because, like I said, I'm a big fan, so I want the art to, and everything about it blows me away.
There's been a few Power Rangers artists that like recently that have all been awesome. I think a lot of them are Spanish or something like that. Like I don't know, like they all seem to have a similar aesthetic. I'm scrolling through my Instagram feed right now to see if they come up because I always like click favorite on there.
I think I'm following them with the Garden State account, but I just can't remember them right now. And I don't want to turn my phone because I don't want to start creating feedback all of a sudden. But while Riley's doing that real quick, I'll give a quick shout out to Chris from Eastside Mags, the guy who's responsible for that beautiful mural in front of the store. He just does tremendous work and deserves some love.
Yeah, totally.
Simone DeMeo is the artist on the Power Rangers TMNT book right now.
Yeah,
which
is
nice.
That's
gorgeous, but
it's like the most dramatic. Like I love it. I love that they're just playing it straight. Like they're not trying to do any tongue in cheek anything. It's like this is the Power Rangers Ninja Turtles comic you wanted when you were in 8th grade.
All right, I'm gonna have to start reading this thing because I'm a TMNT fan, but I'm not really a Power Rangers fan, so I've kind of been letting it just slide through.
You gotta check it. It'll just the way he draws them. It'll change your mind.
Even the Justice League crossover was really good too, both in story and art.
Just when he draws Rita Repulsa, it's awesome. Like I'm like hell yeah! All of a sudden I'm a Rita Repulsa fan. She used to be so corny, but she's badass in this.
I'm doing this trying to get other people in the comics in different titles, and I'm sitting here going, "Wait, say that."
This is the hot one, man. It's good.
Power Rangers TMNT. I'm gonna write that down. All right, so here's a question: what is your favorite comic book story of all time?
I'm looking at my collection. This is why I keep turning around.
My favorite is I always go back and forth between Dark Phoenix Saga and Akira. It's somewhere like I go back and forth between which one I like better. And Dark Phoenix Saga, especially if you start it from the Proteus story right before that and then go right into the Dark Phoenix Saga, like those two together are so so good. And then Akira is just like goes without saying. That's one of the best comics ever. Both of them, I think. I don't know. I can't pick.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Rich, what about you, man?
I think for me, I would probably say, like, I bounce around a lot too, I think, but I would say if I had to pick one to like kind of take me with me to like a desert island or something, like it would be Transmetropolitan.
Oh, very cool.
It's like, it's totally weird because like I kind of completely by accident.
I can't hear him. I want to know why.
In New York.
Although I feel like if I was on a desert island, reading Transmetropolitan would make me hate the rest of the world so much that I'd feel comfortable living on the desert island.
There, right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was just sort of like the book that kind of got me back into comics.
Right.
After not reading them for years, just because it was just so like wild and out there, not what I was really expecting. So that's
Cool.
always gonna have like a special place in my heart.
Cool. Yeah, totally.
Howie, you got a favorite story?
If we go with the desert island scenario, and I want something like that's just a lot of fun, just like really enjoyable. I'm gonna have to cheat a little bit. I would take the Jeff Loeb omnibus of Superman, of his run on Superman Batman when he started the series.
Okay.
Much
That's
like
good
Rich,
stuff.
I actually stopped reading comics for a little bit, but then I came back to them around the time when the series got started, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like he was really in his prime, and he worked with the first volume was Ed McGuinness,
Yep.
which I do like his style for the most part. It's like the animated series, but with the muscle detail.
Yeah.
Mike Turner, who just blew it away.
Yeah.
And the third volume was Carlos Pacheco. I said that right.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I read that one.
That one was called.
What happened in that story? Who was
They
like
kind of went to like a different another Earth, and they were in cages.
I don't think I remember that one.
It was really good. And then like the fourth volume.
I mean, I don't remember it, and I can't imagine.
I feel like it was called Absolute Powers, Public Enemies, Supergirl. I think it was Absolute Power, and then it came to Vengeance, which we went back to do with McGuinness.
Cool.
But yeah, the whole run there was just so much fun.
Yeah,
it really was.
Have you ever read Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness's Hulk stuff? Incredible Hulk stuff.
Is that when they introduced Red Hulk?
Yeah, yeah.
I started to read it. I was falling out of love with Marvel at that time. With stuff they put on the shelves, unfortunately. I started to read it though.
I thought that at the time the Hulk story is one of the stronger like things that they were doing. And I mean, I'm a sucker for anything Ed McGuinness draws, and him and Jeff Loeb together always get like, they just know how to get like, it's exactly what you want. It's like, oh, here's the Hulk fighting another Hulk, and it's just here's all the bad guys that they're fighting at the same time, and it's just like. Also
at the time, like I thought Red Hulk was just gonna be a gimmick, but he's still around, right? In some form.
He's kind of like Red Hulk is like a different character. It wasn't.
Oh, it's not Thunderbolt Ross anymore.
No, I know the run that you're talking about, and I'm a huge Hulk fan, and I love that run of Hulk, and actually. I've been telling people that the current Immortal Hulk series is the best thing that I've read Hulk-wise since that.
Really?
Yeah. I want to get on because you talk about so I want to get on that Immortal Hulk.
The Immortal Hulk stuff. If you like horror and you like Hulk, or one of the two, you will not be disappointed.
I've been hearing it's really good.
I read the articles about it because I don't care about spoilers at this point. But everything just sounds so different, and it's being praised between the articles and you. Like I kind of want to check that out.
Al Ewing is killing it with that book. But my whole sales pitch is to people when I'm talking about it is that it's the best thing since Ed McGuinness's run and the introduction of the Red Hulk, because I remember poring over those comics every day. Every time a new one came out.
Yeah.
Red She-Hulk showed up. How is this possible?
The one thing that bugged me about the Red Hulk storyline is where does the mustache go? That explanation did not satisfy. I wish he just as a human, just that was kind of the tell right before he transformed. He's like, oh, I've been wearing a fake mustache to protect my identity. It's an obvious thing. It's a disguise. And then he rips it off, and it's like, oh, but it just disappears. It's like, come on. We've seen Hulk with a beard and a mustache. We know he can have them. Don't.
It's possible. The Hulk skin does have pores. Hair can come through there. The run of U.S. Avengers that they did, what was it, 2 years ago, I think? On that team there was a Red Hulk, but it was also a general, but it wasn't Ross. It was a different general in the Marvel universe who was taking a serum that infused him with the power. I think Roberto DaCosta's Sunspot had developed it, and it was infusing him with the powers of Red Hulk until I think it was AIM the organization that did something to him where he was trapped in the Hulk's body, but it was all shriveled down like a raisin. And so he was very skinny and frail. It was a very weird story, but when I saw that Red Hulk was in it, I was like, oh, this is great. And as you read, I think it wasn't until the third or fourth issue where they reveal that the Red Hulk is not Ross, but a different general altogether. And I was like, oh, this is like G.I. Joe, but with Hulk Gamma. And like, okay. Not a
So, Jeff, what's your favorite comic book series or storyline?
Are you ready for this?
Okay, let's hear it.
0 Hour. DC.
Really?
Wow. Yes.
Okay.
Good one.
I was younger. I had no idea. I thought 0 Hour was the last comics DC was ever going to publish. I thought that was how they were going out. They were evil Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Parallax, nuking the universe.
I remember that. I was a kid when that came out, and I was all about Kyle Rayner right then. I thought that was awesome.
That was my dude. And the first year we were open, I got to host Ron Mars from upstate New York, and it was the only signing where I just sat there like this, going, "Talk to me about putting that woman in the refrigerator." Like, talk to me about Kyle Rayner, and I was goofing on him, and just, oh my god, I'm surprised that guy even talks to me.
Well, he's probably just glad you're not one of the people sending him death threats, because that's one of his most divisive storylines.
Yeah. Well,
he still gets hate mail about it.
That's a thing now. Like,
it was a thing then. It's not new.
Yeah. And he also told me a story about people coming up to his table at cons with like a hand truck with like 5 long boxes on it, and he'll jokingly go, "Oh, are all those for me to sign?" And they'll go, Yeah. Well, you got to unbag and board them. I'm not,
Yeah.
But yeah, 0 Hour, man. I thought at the time when it was coming out, I was like, wow, so DC's just done with comics forever. Like,
I remember you were like, I remember them like it started with 5 and it was counting down to 0, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's
I remember 0, and it has an all-white cover that's not artist friendly because it's still glossy, but
I think I have that in my basement actually.
And then a couple weeks. Oh, you there? Oh, he's cutting out. What did you say?
See, that's why
I think I have them all in my basement.
I look like a nerd, like the rest of you. Like, but you're.
I like yours. I wish I had a headset like that. I don't like these earbuds. Like, this is the last message. I would rather that.
Hurt, yeah.
All my 0 Hours are like. Yeah. All my 0 Hours are tan. The cover's not white anymore. It's definitely brown. A million times. But I really thought that
cool.
was it. And I thought DC was calling it quits. And then like a week later, I went in and I saw these 0 issues, and I'm going, wait, what? I was so confused.
You're walking in like, what are they even selling now?
Yeah, I was like, oh, they're back. That's okay. And but yeah, 0 Hour. That's definitely my top. That and probably Peter David, Spider-Man 2099, the original.
Oh yeah, that was really good. That was a lot of fun.
I don't know. I guess
that's one of your favorite comic stories ever.
Yeah, I loved that. I love that stuff, man. And I bought all the 2099 stuff when it came out, and none of it really kind of paired up to the same level that Peter David Spider-Man 2099.
Right.
I liked Ghost Rider 2099 a lot.
That was a cool one. But the Spider-Man, maybe I was just a bigger Spider-Man fan than anybody else.
Yeah. Well, the costume design was awesome. They still use it,
The talons, like coming out of.
Oh, so gross. Yeah.
Oh, dude, like,
yeah.
What a bug out. Yeah.
You said what a bug out.
So is that kind of like, were those your favorites? Those were the ones that really like got you hooked on comics, or were they kind of like the pinnacle of your reading at the time? What was that? You were in like 8th or 9th grade or something when they came out?
Yeah, I mean, I got into comics a little bit before that. By the time 0 Hour and Spider-Man 2099 came out, I found out about the existence of comic book stores. Prior to that, I would go with my dad to a bodega on Sundays so he could get the Sunday paper, and I'd just grab a comic. But Howie here actually is the guy who brought me to my first comic book store.
No
ever.
way.
We met at summer camp, and he took me to a comic book store, and I'm pretty sure my dad owed his dad like $40 or $50 by the time he came to pick me up. Because I definitely overspent whatever cash my dad sent me with. But yeah, and I mean, I bought a Watchmen T-shirt that I wore forever, and I never read Watchmen.
This is awesome.
I bought that T-shirt too. I thought it was so funny. I didn't know what Watchmen was. I bought that T-shirt. I thought it was funny that a smiley face had the blood on it. I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
I was like, that's great. And I'm like 12 years old walking around in a Watchmen T-shirt, and nobody had said anything to me. Like,
that's true. Everyone wore that T-shirt back then. I guess I always thought that the T-shirt came first, and then like they're like, oh, let's use this imagery for the comic. But no, it probably was just the T-shirt for the comic. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
I mean, I've looked it up chronologically. Watchmen definitely came out before I bought the T-shirt.
It makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I had no idea, and and part of me is like, wow, I went for so long wearing that shirt all the time, and no one. I don't recall anybody ever going, "Oh, Watchmen," and me going, "Oh," like not knowing what they're talking about.
You were in it before you even realized it.
Yeah, I was digging Alan Moore before I even knew who Alan Moore was.
Yeah. The first comic store I shopped at is the used bookstore that's like just down the street from your store, Jeff.
Oh yeah,
that's where I've got my Todd McFarlane Spider-Man #1 and Jim Lee X-Men #1. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I picked up half my Akira stuff there too, because I feel like someone must have just like sold their whole collection, and they had like the whole run of Akira, and I was I must have been in 14 years old or something like that, and I'm just going through the long boxes there, and I'm like, all of a sudden, all this Akira stuff, where the cover price at the time was like $8 an issue or something like that, and they're all in the dollar bin. I was just like, I'll take all of these.
They were square bound, right?
Yeah, man.
Like regular comics, so you had
each one was like a graphic novel.
Yeah, those are. I bought a collection where someone had all 38 issues,
something like that, 36, 38, something like that.
And I just remember looking at going, I don't remember them being this big, but they are. Yeah, they're like little trade paperbacks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Well, anything else we want to talk about before we sign off?
Were those the only 2 questions?
I went through like 3.
Oh, okay. Do we have any listener questions or anything?
Just Bill O'Donnell vouching that Al Ewing is awesome, and people still bring those 0-hour issues to Jan Jurgens and Jerry Ordway to do sketches.
Oh, okay. So, cool.
I got a question for Howard, since you're a big Superman fan.
Yes, sir.
What do you think of All-Star Superman? Do you like it as a Superman story? Do you think of it as kind of like a definitive one? Like,
oh no, it's a great story. Absolutely, and it's one of those Grant Morrison stories that you can actually understand. You don't need like an astrophysics degree on a lot of drugs to understand. Like his Justice League run of the '90s. Again, great run. But he out there.
Yeah.
I know All-Star Superman is a great story. I don't know if I'd call it definitive, but it is absolutely one of the greats. The art is beautiful, and the story itself is it's a lot of fun. I didn't love the movie. When they they had to take 12 issues worth of story and cram it into the magic 76, 77 minute run.
Yeah.
So a lot gets cut. And, but no, All-Star Superman is absolutely a great story.
I was hoping I could watch the movie and wouldn't have to read the comic. I'm not a huge Grant Morrison fan, and everyone's been raving about this comic. And I'm like, all right, like I don't, and I was like, I don't know, I feel weird about buying, because I'm like, I don't know if I'm afraid I'm gonna like it, and then I have to like something that Grant Morrison made, or if I'm afraid that I'm not gonna like it because I don't like anything else I've ever read of his. So I was like, maybe I'll watch the cartoon, because sometimes the voice actors can make sense of dialogue that normally I wouldn't particularly like when I'm reading it. But if you say that doesn't hold up, maybe I do have to actually read.
No, I know the movie. No, the movie's fine. I know. But like I said, I think the key thing to what I said, which I hope sells you on reading it, is the fact that it's not one of the crazy, flippant out there Grant Morrison stories,
Right? Yeah.
Like God, Final Crisis, and
Yeah.
and Superman 3D, and his whole run on Batman was a little out there too. No, All Star Superman is a safe Grant Morrison story to read.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's definitely on the safe side.
I was curious because I came to it as as someone who's actually a Grant Morrison fan. So I was like, oh, let's see what he does as Superman. And I really liked it. I'm just always kind of curious what like somebody who would come at it from like being a Superman fan thought of it. So that's why I asked.
You know what nothing seemed like out of character or it wasn't not Superman
right.
at all.
That's good. That's a big step up as far as Grant Morrison's concerned.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't want to bring Grant Morrison.
No, it's all good.
Don't quote me. I'm sure I'm going to work with him one day, and then I'll have to eat my words. But
actually our next guest next week. So.
No, tell him I said he's great. Tell him I love his haircut.
No, I recommend that one. Like, I'll tell you, I would not recommend what just came out with Miller and Romita Jr., which is just
Superman.
Was it year one?
Year one, Earth one, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
No, it was year one. That was
Year one.
that. Listen, I'll listen. For the most part, I'll buy anything. I'll buy any of my Superman comics when Jeff first thing. That was one where I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm gonna read it online first, and if I like it, I'll buy the collected edition.
It was a weird story.
Now I'm sure it was weird because it was Frank Miller, but was it weird like All-Star Batman? Because I love All-Star Batman. I know people don't love All-Star Batman, but they are wrong.
I mean, he didn't say he was the goddamn Kryptonian or anything, but I mean,
missed opportunity.
He slapped Jimmy Olsen like.
It changed around a lot of the early Superman stuff, and the way it was strung together was very strange. He joins the military, like a young Clark Kent joins the military and is holding back his powers. I don't remember that ever being a thing with Clark Kent. So I don't. And then all of a sudden, this military base that he's on is also near a beach where he dives into the water and meets Lori Lamaris and the mermaid, and it just seemed
weird. Okay.
Just very strangely strung together.
Interesting.
I would say. And then ultimately, at the end of the last issue, he's there with like Dark Knight Returns, Wonder Woman, and Batman, and you're going, did we time jump? Was there a time jump?
Okay, weird.
Yeah.
I will say, since we mentioned it briefly, I don't know if he's an underrated artist or whatever, but I love Shane Davis's work on Superman Earth 1.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fantastic. The first volume was really well written, well drawn. Second volume story was okay, but the art was still on point because it was Shane. I don't remember who did volume 3, but it wasn't him. But Shane Davis he's definitely one of my favorite Superman artists also.
Yeah. You know what? I love, people never talk about this stuff anymore, but I love Silver Age DC stuff. And I've got this, my favorite Superman collection that I've got is the Garcia Lopez. It's like a collection of Garcia Lopez's Superman stuff from the 70s or something like that, 60s, 70s. And they're just such goofy, off the wall stories. Like at one point, there's a panel where he's throwing a lion at somebody, and I said, "That's awesome." And now I love those, especially because I can read them with my 4-year-old son, and it's just the best. I'm like, this is like, yeah, I want to see more of this type of thing where it's like, throw the lion at the bad guy.
My favorite part of those era of stories is when they're like, oh, it was just an imaginary story. It didn't really happen. It's like, but isn't it an imaginary story to begin with? Like, so it's an imaginary story? Yeah. Okay. No, but yeah, you're right.
It's an imaginary story folded into another imaginary story.
There were always comic nerds that were keeping track of continuity. It's like, that isn't possible. Yeah. Clark Kent and Superman can never be in the same place at the same time, and yet.
Here's a good question from Angela that she just posted. What would be the first comic book you would give to an 8-year-old?
That's Superman I just talked about. It's great. He throws a lion at a guy.
I mean, yeah, cool. I'm gonna get another copy of what Reilly's handing out. Because
personally, I would say I'd probably say Spider-Man. Because I know 8-year-olds like love Spider-Man stuff, and so and if you get, I don't know, probably something from the I had some cousins that when they really got into comics, they were, about 8 years old or so, and they loved Stan Lee and Steve Ditko's Spider-Man. Like they were reading that stuff. Like they had a couple of Spider-Man books, but one of them was the Stan Lee Steve Ditko stuff, and one was the modern stuff, whatever was coming out at the time. And they always said that they liked the older stuff better because even though it was somewhat more crude, they loved it because Spider-Man was really sarcastic. And I think at that age, they were really getting into sarcasm. And like just his personality was such that it really they really loved that. So yeah, I'd say Spider-Man's always a hit with kids. Of course, so is Superman and Batman, but yeah.
Sure.
Rich, what about you, man? You've got kids that are closer to that age range than either me or Reilly. So
yeah, it's weird because I think there's kind of like a few different things you could do. There's like you could either do like the Dogman or like Diary of a Wimpy Kid kind of stuff, which is kind of like kind of get hey, here's reading comics, and then like get more into like the kind of superhero stuff. But I think if we were just talking like just like a straight up like superhero comic book, then yeah, I have to agree with Reilly. I think like Spider-Man is like a great one, like a lot of the earlier stuff, and I think like on the DC side of things, like it's like if you're gonna do Batman, I think you want to do probably like more of like a 70s 80s Batman because Batman nowadays is pretty dark.
Batman got real dark real fast.
Yeah, but that being said, like I think DC is also putting out a bunch of like kind of like all ages books. Like I know they did a Catwoman one that my friend Isaac Goodhart illustrated, and it's amazing, and it's kind of like geared towards like younger readers. So I think that's like a really great entry into the whole thing.
Also, if they're a DC fan, if they like Batman does a lot of great crossovers with other things, and so right now I'm thinking of the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover, and I just noticed that a little boy walked in there.
The great thing about that Batman Ninja Turtles thing is like they did one for the mainline continuity, but then they did a totally separate one. For the all ages, for the kids books.
Yeah, I was thinking of the cartoon one, the cartoony looking one. I just love it. Hey, Will, you want to come and say hi to the guys and tell them what your favorite comic book is?
I want to chime in. Let's after we say hi to Will.
Actually, wait a second. Yeah, Will's pretty close.
Let's get the demographic up here. Hey.
Tell them who your favorite superhero is.
My favorite superhero is
Just say into the microphone.
Spider-Man.
Wow.
Spider-Man. There you go.
Very nice.
For a villain. Who's your favorite enemy of Spider-Man? Like Venom?
Yeah.
Red Venom? You tell him.
Red Venom.
Ooh.
Very cool. I like Spider-Man.
Ask them a question.
I like Spider-Man too.
Yeah.
Do you know who that green guy that's from Shazam?
The green guy from Shazam?
Who, the worm?
Yeah.
The worm?
Yeah.
Was that Mr. Mind? You talking about from the movie?
Yeah.
I think Mr. Mind.
Mr. Mind.
Yeah, you're gonna learn more about him when the sequel eventually comes out.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
All right, buddy. I gotta take this back. You go up and say it. You go up to mommy, okay? We'll be up soon. Sorry about that.
That was adorable.
That was awesome. I have to
answers.
I do have to say, the great thing about comics now, though, is like they have so many more things that are geared for kids. Like when I started reading, like my first comic book series was Superboy, based on like the TV show from '88 to '92, which is just absolutely phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
when I was helping out with the store, like early in the beginning, like people would ask, like, what's good for kids? I got the kids section. What else you got? Like, I would usually point them to anything that was based on a TV show. So, they'll have Supergirl stories that are just based on a TV show with less continuity. It's just easier to follow. They have
Yep.
I would try to get them by issues or trades of the Batman adventures or the Superman adventures that were based on the cartoon. No continuity or about done in one stories, and just geared more for kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
I'm with everybody on this. I think especially like the books that DC's putting out now. There was a Green Lantern book where I think it's a girl. It's not the regular continuity. It was an all new character. They did a Green Lantern all ages book.
Far Sector? Is that it?
Which one was it?
Was it called Far Sector?
No, that's a different one too, and that's actually really good.
Not for kids.
No, it's definitely not all ages. I can't remember. I can't see it from here in the kids section, but Batman Overdrive was another one where it's almost like Bruce Wayne's in the Fast and the Furious. So it's got Cars, which kids love, and it's got Batman, which
That's
kids love.
cool. Yeah.
But yeah, DC seems to really be kind of pushing a little bit more of an all ages thing. And then, like Howie said, anything based off a TV show, like, we still blow through Looney Tunes issues. DC's still making them, and we're blowing through Looney Tunes. Like,
Wow. Yeah.
going out of style. So, I think those are all some pretty good DC recommendations.
I don't know if 8-year-olds are really like into the whole continuity thing of it, but I mean, definitely like solid reads out there.
Well, I also like that about the kids' comics too, is they're kind of like cartoon episodes where, they can just jump in. I mean, part of me wonders why they even number the issues, because
Right.
so they can keep track of them, I guess, on the back end. But yeah.
Well, I mean, he's 4, not 8, but he loves the Scooby-Doo series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
especially when they team up with the superheroes, like the Scooby-Doo and superhero one. Like the things that are great.
What always bugs me out about the Scooby-Doo team-up series is sometimes the heroes that they're teaming up with are real deep cuts. Like,
yeah,
it was like Dynamite and what was that old Hanna-Barbera cartoon? It was the Blue Falcon.
Yeah.
I was like, what child today knows anything about Blue Falcon and Dynamite? Like,
some of them are a little too obscure and obviously just a way to keep the trademark active.
They're going to be in that new movie if that's still coming out. I don't know, but Dynamite and what was the hero?
A movie?
No, there's going to be a new CGI Scooby-Doo movie coming out, or and
it's supposed to come out this summer.
Yeah, and the dog and the superhero are in it.
Oh,
yeah, it's called Scoob.
Yeah.
Oh, that.
It actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, something to look forward to when movie theaters eventually open up again.
Hopefully.
Well, I don't know. I think that's all I've got. Unless you guys have anything up your sleeve that you guys want to talk about? No pressure.
No, I plugged Outrage. Working on Outrage. Season 2 is going to be launching soon on Webtoon. So, sorry, Jeff, it doesn't go through your store, but hopefully, eventually, as the printers open up, we'll have more to announce on that front. I've got some other DC related stuff that I can't talk about yet, but you'll be hearing about that eventually.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Rich, you got anything you want to plug last minute?
It's to keep an eye out for Gutter Magic, Smoke and Mirrors. It's going to be coming out soon, and CSROs later in the year. But if you want to check some of my stuff out, that's available right now. There's the original Gutter Magic and Road of Bones and Wailing Blade.
Wailing Blade.
Yeah.
Love that sword.
Yeah, that's a great name too.
Oh my
God. Yeah. Been talking to Joe a lot too. I think we're talking about what we could do with that too. So we'll see what's going on.
Joe's on my list of people I wanna do one of these with, but
So
I have a feeling
You gotta have Joe on, even
I've
if you don't
gotta
want to on with
how
him.
to
Like, I'll watch the
bleep him.
Whistler.
I've got to figure out how to bleep out half the stuff that he's gonna say. 'Cause
Oh, one thing I should mention is in the meantime, if you shop with Jeff, I gave him a bunch of these trading cards that I
Yes.
autographed. And what is it, Jeff, for any order over how much?
$20 or more.
$20 or
You
more? Get an
signed
autographed card.
autographed Deadpool card. Yeah. I was saving that I was gonna let you guys go first, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you could say it again.
And while we're on it, we've got a very few left, but Rich was kind enough to gift us with a shoebox full of comics that he's worked on, including Gutter Magic, Road of Bones, a couple issues of TMNT Universe that he had stories in. That he signed all of them, and those are going out with orders of $50 or more because we just have less of those. So we wanted to kind of spread it out as much as possible. And a lot of them are gone. So place your order soon so you can get your signed Rich Douek comics and your Reilly Brown signed Deadpool cards. Howie, you got anything you want to plug or?
Well, if you're looking for a photographer, once we're allowed to get near each other again, I am
get a long distance lens.
Yeah, you got a telephoto lens.
Real quick, like I am toying with the idea. I don't know if I could pull it off of social distant family portraits since all the families are together. I don't know. It's an idea I'm toying with just to like get some cash in. I guess I don't know. Otherwise, once we can come out of our cages, I'm working on doing a lot of Superman cosplay stuff just because I'm a big fan. I want to do like just a big personal project on that. So if you're a Superman, Supergirl, and that family cosplayer, please reach out to me. World of HSL. Right
there you go.
There. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah.
The idea of a family photo to me definitely means that I want my family a minimum of 6 feet away from me. I don't want them too close. And then I guess on my end, we are open, just not to the public. There was actually a guy who came up to the window and was like, "Are you open?" And I was like, "No." We are not open to the public, unfortunately, but we are doing curbside pickup and shipping. So you can call in your order, email your order, Facebook message, Instagram message. I've been saying carrier pigeons. If you have a carrier pigeon and you're so inclined, you can send one of those over. I don't know how he'll bring back trade paperbacks or anything. Those are heavy. That's on you. That's got nothing to do with me. But curbside pickup and shipping, orders over $20, you get a signed Reilly Brown Deadpool trading card. Orders over $50 gets both the card and a Rich Douek signed comic at our discretion, which is basically whatever's at the top of the box when we take one out. And yeah, we're here. No new comics for the foreseeable future, but there's plenty of old stuff. Decades, in fact.
Yeah.
Say 80 years or so.
Get those Silver Age Supermans, man. I'm telling you, it's good stuff.
Superman from the Lions.
We've got tons of Silver Age Superman on the back wall here, including one where Lois Lane is blindfolded and Superman has somehow tricked her into helping him rob a log cabin. I'm not going to say any more because you have to buy it to find out why they are robbing a log cabin full of a bucket full of money. Cash money. So, but yeah, we're here. We're open. You can buy gift cards if you want to just support the store. We've been giving away $5 gift cards to service workers, cops, firemen, anybody who's still out there, some restaurants, people who are still out and doing work and getting stuff done out in public. So that's been great. And yeah, cool. Keep tuning in because hopefully we'll have a whole bunch more of these. A variety of guests and a variety of mishaps. So, thank you, Reilly, Rich, and Howie for taking this inaugural journey with me and being brave enough to trust me that this wasn't going to be a total shit show.
No, this is fun. I like doing this.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
This is a damn good time.
Yeah.
Well, we're definitely going to have to do it again. And yeah, good luck with everything. We will see you guys hopefully when we can start congregating. We'll have you guys in for signings for some of your upcoming stuff.
Yep.
Awesome.
People
Sounds
can
great.
talk to you in real life.
Cool.
Great.
All
Thanks a
right.
lot.
See you
All right.
guys later.
Bye, guys.